everyone, and welcome to LDM Radio Sports Talk, the sports show that talks about current events and other topics relatable to sports fans. My name is Alfonso Caldero, and joining me this week is Wesley Segundo.
This is Wepa, man. What up?
All right. So it's been an exciting week of sports so far. We will get right into the NHL, and we are in the Stanley Cup Finals.
In a quarantine Stanley Cup final. In a freaking bubble.
Yeah. So right now we have the Tampa Bay Lightning playing the Dallas Stars, and Tampa Bay is leading 2-1. Do you have any thoughts on the series?
Yo, something just tells me, like, here's the thing. I low-key want the Tampa Bay Lightning to lose.
Yeah.
Because I just want to talk my ish. There's just something about this team. Let me tell you something about Dallas.
All right.
The way I could just perfectly describe Dallas, like, don't count them out.
Yeah.
You already seen them in the playoffs. Nobody expected them to come. They remind me of Michael Quito. It will sneak up on you.
Yeah, both the Dallas Stars and the Tampa Bay Lightning were round robin teams, so they were at the top of their respective conferences going in. They didn't have to deal with the qualifying round; they just played the round robin for seeding. And right now we have the Tampa Bay Lightning. They have their captain Steven Stamkos back. He came back last night. Played 2 minutes and 47 seconds, but he scored a goal in that time. And
sort of a participation trophy?
Yeah. Then they ended up winning 5-2 to take the 2-1 series lead. I'm gonna say that I'm also going for the Dallas Stars, just because
His favorite color is green.
my favorite color is green. Yeah, but the Tampa Bay Lightning, they beat the New York Rangers in 2015. So I'd rather them not win, but. At the same time, they also have Captain Ryan, our former captain, Ryan McDonough. So if they did win, it would be good.
You know what's my vendetta with them? I'm sorry to cut you off, but you know what's my vendetta with them?
What?
The whole BS of Rangers South. Rangers South. That's not even... there never was Rangers South.
Yeah.
It's just the stupid Ranger fans in our fan base that say the stupidest ish.
Well, there was a point that the Tampa Bay Lightning had 5 ex-Rangers on the roster, but right now they only have 2. Really, only one that was like significant, Ryan McDonough.
I mean, but how many ex-players of ex-teams have been in other teams, and nobody has like said that stupid stuff? You know what I mean?
Well, it all depends on the relativity of it.
Look at me coming back with like the most angriest points ever.
Yeah, but Ryan Callahan, he ended up getting traded from the Rangers to the Lightning mid-season, and then he ended up recruiting Brian Boyle and Anton Stroman to go on the team. So it was like they were forming like a new world order. I think it was just the timing of how everything worked out that way.
Like what the hell was that? The New York Rangers Avengers?
And yeah, so then, but the interesting storylines in these playoffs are the 2 superstars who have not won a Stanley Cup yet, and that's Steven Stamkos on one side for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and then there's Joe Pavelski, who's a hired gun from
the San Jose Sharks,
yeah.
who was really one of my favorite players.
Yeah.
Which I am also a Sharks fan, so if like the Rangers are out, I root for the Sharks, but the Sharks ain't doing nothing now.
Yeah.
They suck.
So when it gets to that, so there's, one team, the Lightning haven't won since 2004. Dallas hasn't won since 1999. So whatever team wins is going to be somebody who hasn't won in over.
You want to know something?
What?
Both those teams have something in common. Controversial overtime goals.
Yeah, they do.
The Marty St. Louis one.
From what?
In 2004 that led to the Game 7.
Right.
And 1999 with Brett Hull.
Foot in the crease. Yeah.
It was legal.
Yeah.
Well, you just say that to piss off a Buffalo Sabres fan.
Well, there's one interesting scheduling wrinkle. So Game 4 is going to be tomorrow, which is Friday, and then right after, the Game 5 is going to be on Saturday. I think it's just really to just avoid Sunday and football altogether.
So what are they do? They doing? Are they going like back and forth in like uh Ontario and I mean Toronto and
Nah,
Edmonton?
everything they're just in Edmonton now. Since the conference finals, they've been in Edmonton. So when the Islanders played the Tampa Bay Lightning, that was in Edmonton.
Really?
They moved everybody over. Yeah.
Wow, I thought they were gonna. I guess.
No, they just shifted the bubble over to one big bubble.
Wow, they really live in a bubble.
Yeah. Well, kudos to the NHL and the NBA for their efforts in proving that you can beat the COVID system by just centralizing everything in one spot.
Yo, anything to beat the system. I'm not trying to say over here to beat the government system. All right, so I'm not trying to promote that. Listen, government, if you're watching, I didn't say anything to screw you guys. So calm down.
Absolutely. So we're gonna get to the NBA, and we are in conference finals land. Tonight we have the first seeded Los Angeles Lakers versus the third seeded Denver Nuggets, and Los Angeles is leading the series 2-1. That is the Western Conference.
From what I've seen, like on some highlights and mostly Facebook posts, Denver's no joke.
No. Denver is definitely nothing to be taken
Yo,
lightly.
I have not heard of Denver being relevant since Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah, it's been a while. Well, the one thing about Denver is that they came back 2 series back to back from 3-1 deficits and came back to win. So that this series won't be over until the Lakers absolutely win that 4th game. They shouldn't be taking anything lightly, and it'll be interesting to see who comes out of the West on there.
Wow.
Yeah, and tomorrow in the Eastern Conference we have the third seeded Boston Celtics versus the 5th seeded Miami Heat.
Both those teams. As a Knicks fan, you hate the Miami Heat because you already know the history.
Right.
Going back to the 90s. And then
end up being a problem for the Nuggets.
you got that Boston-New York rivalry. So it's like you basically got your nuts tied to be run over by a train.
Yeah, and the Celtics. Well, I think both teams are so far removed from any time that the Knicks were good. I mean, there's no surviving players on either teams from when when they actually had the rivalries with the Knicks. So I don't know. It doesn't really feel the same as it did back then. You know, like not even coaches or anything. I mean, there's just no relevance between the teams that are playing in these finals.
Yo,
and
but if you
the
think
ones that
about
went
it,
up against the Knicks.
if you think about it, like looking at that Eastern Conference Finals is like being a Rangers fan and you see both the Devils and the Islanders facing each other in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Right, but see, the difference is that the Rangers were good for a little while, and they had like a bunch of run-ins with these people. The Knicks, I mean, it's been 7 years since they've really been anything
significant.
significant.
Hate those teams though.
Yeah,
The history, man.
yeah. I like the fact that
Yeah, I'm just a certified hater.
yeah, but the way these teams were built, like the Celtics were basically built off of just drafting,
yeah.
right? Just trading players, getting a bunch of first-round picks, and even in this year's draft, they have 3 first-round picks. You know, like
Yeah, and you
they
can
just
blame
stockpile, and
you can
just,
blame some of that to the Brooklyn Nets too.
Yeah, well,
off that trade.
That was that'd be on this team. Well, all of those picks from that trade is done, but the why this team is so good can definitely be attributed to
Oh yeah.
the Brooklyn Nets and that wacky trade that they made way back when for Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett.
That washed up Kevin Garnett.
So yeah, so
used to love Cheerios.
but the Heat, they have a 3-1 series lead. Pretty crazy how they're just mowing down the Celtics. You know, it's just the Celtics look like they were primed to take it, and like the Heat just came out of nowhere. They're basically like the Dallas Stars of the NBA.
Oh.
They just came through and just busted. And Jimmy Butler's just amazing. There was actually a stat where the teams that he's been on the Chicago Bulls, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the 76ers, and now the Heat. His last year on those teams were the last time that they've been in the playoffs.
Wow.
Yeah, so Jimmy Butler is just a winner, and he's really doing well, taking the Miami Heat to it's going to seemingly be the NBA Finals.
The NBA COVID Finals.
Yeah, so I'd say the Heat versus the Lakers would be that would be like the one of the number one watched finals, definitely. I mean, if the Nuggets and Celtics made it, that wouldn't be as sexy of a matchup.
Yo, speaking of COVID, right? For as long as you know me, you know that my mind is a Pandora's box. You know, when I'm that quiet, I'm thinking of some type of like wacky thing.
Right.
Now, when they pass the championships, right? They're all sweaty. They got some blood in them. They smell like sweaty balls. Is there going to be like a social distancing, like passing of the championship respective trophies?
I wonder. I don't think between the people. No! Yeah, I wouldn't imagine that. I think, like everybody's been around each other for so long that, what we've normally seen with the passing of the trophies and the kissing of the trophies and hugging and all of that's gonna still take place because they're all in the same bubble. Like they're all okay, so they could all pass it to each other.
I mean, according to like this whole COVID stuff,
yeah,
X does this, X does that, and you have Corona, not the beer.
So I would say that it's gonna be it's gonna be regular. I think it's gonna look the same on TV except for the fact that there's no fans. But I mean, like the fans. I mean, it's not like the '90s or the '80s when the fans used to storm on the court anyway, or the field or ice or whatever. That is a very interesting topic.
You know what? Speaking of storming the court or storming the field, how about the guy that trespassed on the weekend between the Red Sox and the Yankees? Somehow this guy trespassed near the monster seats.
Yeah.
Where the media was like just shooting their cameras, and this guy is just shouting like many like random stuff and just throwing stuff on the baseball field.
Well, I think how that happened was it's one of the older stadiums out there. Like I'm sure there was some hole in the like it's not super polished where everybody goes in through one way. There's multiple ways to get in. I'm pretty sure he just knew, whatever way, probably since he was 8, how to get in for free, and then just went in there.
You gotta ask yourself how much more are we gonna see that?
I don't know. I think he's probably really paying a hefty penalty for it, and I don't think a lot of people are gonna do that.
To the fans watching, okay, here's a little fun objective I got for you. Any game that you're watching, see if there's a fan trespassing. Bring it to the comments, and I will do a COVID fan trespassing count. Starting today, for those of you watching, please, if you see anything like that, let us know in the comments section, okay?
But I'm going to say that this guy wasn't there's a lot of people who would break in, to watch the game, to be a part of the game and stuff like that. Like, this guy wasn't doing it because he's a super fan. He was doing it just, to cause wreckage, So
TV time?
Not exactly the same exact thing as if other people, would want to just go there just to be there and have excitement. So,
and by the way, I just want to make clear that I am not encouraging anybody to trespass into any stadiums. I'm just saying, if you happen to see that, start the count and bring it to me and Fonz, because we'll talk about it.
Absolutely. We're also gonna get into some footage reels and things like that in the coming weeks. So that'll definitely be good to drop on here, and then we could all laugh together.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we're going to break in now to the MLB. And right now we are in the stretch run. We are in the last weekend of the regular season. We're already here. Like it's so weird how, it's a short season, but
But you want to know something?
what?
It's always like towards the end of September is when they end the season practically. I
Right.
mean, I look back on my Facebook memories, and today of last year, I was actually at the last home game for the Yankees
Yeah.
for the season.
Yeah, I mean the way they aligned it, that was pretty good in that regard. I'd say as a Yankee fan, as a spoiled Yankee fan, I'm always just ready for the playoffs. Like come on, fast forward the season, and let's just get to the playoffs. And that's exactly what happened this year. Like
Well,
we basically just zoomed by, and we're about to hit it.
It's
to
basically
October
like
baseball.
that since 2017.
Yeah.
Because 2013, 2014, 2015, and even 2016, it was like, all right, what's next?
Yeah.
Then we had 2017.
Yeah.
They magically make the playoffs out of nowhere. And guess what? I want to give a big shout out to the Houston Astros for missing the playoffs. That's what you get.
Yeah.
You bum mother effers.
I'd agree. I have to. I'm actually sorry to break the news to you, but they're actually looking like they're gonna make it as the second. They're gonna make it in the AL West as a second seed. Yeah.
Who, the Astros?
The Astros. Yeah. So we'll actually.
No, I read something that they're out of playoff contention.
Nah. What happened was they were close to the Seattle Mariners were close to catching up with them, and then they had a series this week where they could have overtaken them, but unfortunately that didn't happen. Yeah.
Jesus effing Christ.
Yeah. So we'll break down and then we'll get to we'll start with the AL West. We have the Oakland Athletics, who they clinched the division. They've been leading wire to wire the whole season, and the Houston Astros are 6.5 games behind Oakland. But unfortunately, with the way the system is, the top two teams in each division automatically get into the playoffs. So basically, that is how they're getting in. If they were a wild card team, they wouldn't even have a good enough record to make that section. But they're in the weak division. They ended up capitalizing on that. So the Los Angeles Angels actually are in third place now, but they're basically just mathematical days away from just being eliminated. And Seattle Mariners dropped behind the Angels. They had their chance. They had a 3-game series. They could have jumped over Houston, but Houston, unfortunately,
Damn, I got all excited.
together. Yeah, sorry about that. But, they will be a wild card team, so that means they'll be playing either Oakland again or Tampa Bay, it looks like. Tampa Bay in the AL East has the best record in the American League at 37-20. And they clinched the division this week, unfortunately, for us. But congratulations to them.
Congratulations
they
to them.
deserve
But to be honest, I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced.
We got to see. I think, like we mentioned before, the short season is going to benefit a lot of younger teams, and that Tampa Bay is – Tampa Bay kind of defies logic. Every time they're good, it's like they come in with a bunch of no-name guys, and they just get these high draft picks, and they always have stud pitching where it's like, like their 1 through 4 guys are just completely would be like aces on any other team, and that's the way they get it done. And now they're actually they're hitting the baseball a little more regularly than what we're used to in the past.
I mean, besides Kevin Cash admitting that he would on purposely plunk the Yankees and other teams too.
Well, there's a very realistic chance that the Yankees and Tampa Bay could face each other somewhere down the line. So, but Tampa Bay was 8-2 against New York this year. So, a part of me wants it to happen, and a part of me does not.
Every dog has one lucky day.
At least it won't happen in the first round though, because the New York Yankees are in second place in the AL East, and their magic number to clinch that spot is 1. So, they play the Blue Jays today, and if they beat the Blue Jays, then they will secure second place. But if not, then just the next time the Jays lose and the Yankees win, the Yankees will have that number 2 slot. So that means they won't be able to finish any worse than 6th. Yeah. So that means they'll avoid the dangerous Rays in the first round. That would be cool. And the aforementioned Blue Jays are 3 games behind the Yankees, so that's why with 4 games to go for each club. Basically, the manager number just for the Yankees is 1.
And the Red Sox happen to be more worse than the Baltimore Orioles,
Yeah.
which I enjoyed.
And one of the interesting developments from last week, it looked like the Chicago White Sox, who were the surprise of the American League for sure, looked like they were on their way to winning the division with a bit of a cushion. But now the Minnesota Twins have taken first place of the AL Central Division at 35-22.
Wow.
Yeah. So right now, they're only a half game above the White Sox, and the Cleveland Indians are still hanging in there with a puncher's chance at 2.5 games behind. So
Yeah, especially with like half their team like traded away.
yep. Now the significance there is the Yankees are 32-24. The White Sox have 34-20 record. So right now they're in the driver's seat for the home field advantage. Right now,
wow.
what teams are looking for is to get that 3-game series in their home ballpark, and obviously for a team like the Yankees, they drastically play better at home than they do on the road, even if there's fans or no fans. Their home record is just way better than their road record. So, in a short 3-game series, that could make all the difference.
Well, we'll see because in the playoffs things change.
Absolutely. It's gonna be a wild ride. But it looks like these are our 8 playoff teams. So we have Tampa Bay Yankees, then we have the Minnesota Twins, the White Sox, the Cleveland Indians, and then the Oakland A's and the Houston Astros. Those are our 8 teams. They've pretty much been our 8 teams for the past couple weeks. I mean, for basically over a month. It looked a little murky there for the Yankees for a bit. It looked like they were about to drop out, and the Cleveland Indians took a real big splash. But now they have all settled in, and next week we will be in the playoffs, and then we'll talk about what the seeding is
And the
all that other
location,
fun
I think
stuff.
they're gonna do a bubble location for that.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's gonna be crazy.
It's gonna be interesting.
So, the Boston Red Sox have been supplanted as the worst AL team. Right now, the Texas Rangers are 19-37. They are the worst team in the American League.
Wow.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere. They just took a huge dive. And kudos to the Los Angeles Angels because they were actually on the bottom there for a while, like fighting with the Red Sox for the last playoffs. I mean, the worst record in the league, and then and now they're here in 3rd place in the AL West. Makes you think if the season was a little longer, what would have happened? But we'll never know.
We'll never know.
All right,
So it'll be one of those what ifs.
totally.
Now in the MLB, we shift ourselves to the National League.
The National League. So now this is where it gets murky. Like right now, like in the AL, we have our 8 teams, just depending on where they're gonna seed and all that. But right now in the NL, only 4 spots have been clinched, and it looks completely. It's anybody's guess as what's gonna happen like when these last 4 days of games. So we have the Atlanta Braves, who have been leading the whole way wire to wire in the NL East.
Which they have been doing that for like the past 3-4 seasons.
Yeah, since I was a baby, they've been just completely dominating the NL East. So they are 34-22. They clinched the division, and the Miami Marlins are 6 games behind. The Philadelphia Phillies are 6.5 games behind, and the Mets are 9 games back. So we'll get to those teams in a little bit. The NL Central, we have the Chicago Cubs, who are leading their division. Wouldn't that be wild if both Chicago teams ended up winning divisions?
That'll be
It's
something.
close. It's close.
That'll
Well,
be
the Cubs have been doing their part. They've led wire to wire the entire season. Now the St. Louis Cardinals, who were as far as 10 games played behind what the Cubs had because they had the severe case of the corona. Now they've made up all those games. The Cardinals themselves have played. They played 38 games in August, and they're playing 32 games in September. And
Wow.
yeah, so they've been playing a lot of baseball, and right now they are 3.5 games back of the Chicago Cubs. So the division is not super sewed up yet, because they're 3.5 back, but they have 3 games in hand on the Cubs. So there's still a little bit of wiggle room there.
This is going to be like a make or break.
Yeah.
If they make the playoffs, maybe they will be tired, or maybe they'll probably be the hottest team in the playoffs.
Yeah, that is an absolute possibility. So that's why it's been a really weird, especially toward the end of the season, on figuring out like who's in the playoffs and where exactly these people are. Because like if the Cardinals would have won all those 10 games, then they would have been on top of the league.
Yeah.
Or if they it would have dropped if they would have went 2-8 in those extra games, then a lot of different things could have happened. So right now they are standing fast. They are tied, essentially with the Cincinnati Reds. The Reds are also 3.5 games back.
Yo, speaking of the Cincinnati Reds, how about Trevor Bauer?
Yeah. How anybody who doesn't know Trevor Bauer, if you find out about him, Google him, and you'll love
YouTube him,
because he's
Twitter
the man.
him.
Yeah. He's the man. He's gonna have a fantastic future in ESPN or HBO or wherever he ends up. Wherever he ends up after his career.
You know how long I've been a fan of his.
So why is he so awesome?
Okay, so the dude plays well. He's a pitching freak. He's nothing but mechanics, technique, and the stuff he says. He's awesome. He's not afraid to call out the commissioner.
Yep.
That's why I say, go check his Twitter. Go check his YouTube. And you'll learn a lot of things. He actually does segments, believe it or not, where he breaks down how he pitches.
Yeah.
Like one of those segments that you would see in like Yankees magazine where they will talk to like Matt Blake, the pitching coach. No, he would do it himself. He'd be like, all right, I was thinking this. I should have did this. This is what I was. He's awesome. I actually want him on the Yankees.
Yeah, there were some rumors kicking around there, but he ended up going to Cincinnati, and then he ended up being like one of the most awesome men in America. I mean, the other day he had cleats with trash cans on it. Like it was
really
so great. Yeah. I gotta definitely gotta check him out. I'm actually new on Twitter, so I gotta look him up. Let's check out all that fun stuff.
Fonz is like at least like 10 years old when it comes to Twitter. Like 10 years too late.
Can't disagree with that one. So, but when you have so many social media networks, like it takes a lot of time. Like I put a lot into the Facebook, and I only had Instagram because Instagram ended up feeding Facebook easily, and Snapchat. I mean, everybody loves Snapchat, but
I used to be on. I had Snapchat, but then I just stopped using it.
Yeah, I think the camera's really gonna. It's fast.
Camera on Snapchat.
Yeah, the only thing is it's backwards, but I find it easier like when something's when something's out there, like to just flash it real quick instead of getting your camera and the zoom and all that stuff like that. I don't know.
I'm tired of the filters. Anyways, back to the sports talk.
All right, so right now we are. Yep. So the Cardinals are 3.5 games back. The Reds are 3.5 games back, and the Brewers are 4.5 games back. So the Brewers are out of the Central, out of the top spot, but they're still in the wild card race, which we will get to in just a second.
Which is surprising.
Well, they were actually the Reds weren't mentioned on this show. I don't think ever, and they just popped in there at the end. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying I'm surprised, by the Brewers. I mean, they started so hot and now they just fall.
Yep.
They got some dope looking jerseys, by the way.
They do.
I'm a jersey buff myself.
It's the ebbs and flows of the season. It's really what it is, Like the Yankees, not to keep bringing them back, but that is our most relevant point because that's what we watch the most. They were 5-15 at one point in a 60-game season, and they were able to withstand that. Thankfully.
Yeah,
that was pretty crazy. So
2020.
Yeah. So then in the NL West, It's been a standard. The LA Dodgers, the best record in baseball, 39-17.
Yeah.
So they are number one. The Padres are number two.
So for how long they've been winning the NL West?
I believe this is like
Like
the
fourth year
I
in a
think it's
row?
like the fourth or fifth year in a row. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. They are.
You know, I mean, since I've been on this earth, I have not seen one bad season from the Dodgers. They
Yeah.
just always seem to be in the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, I think the one interesting wrinkle in this season is the San Diego Padres have come up and they've crashed the party on that whole division. They're number two right now. Their record is actually comparable. It's the same as Atlanta's.
I don't care what you say, but Fernando Tatis Jr. is the face of the San Diego Padres.
Yeah.
Not Manny Machado,
Yeah.
not Mike Clevenger, not Will Myers.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't even know who else is in the Padres.
Yeah. That was a very young bunch, and they're just causing havoc everywhere they. I think that they're going to be the surprise of the NL. I think when it comes down to it, they're going to bust in and they're going to. Like, we're going to know by the end of October what a lot of these guys' names are. That's what I'm going to say. You know, especially it's hard for the East Coast to really get to know a lot of the Western coast.
Yeah, because they
like,
play so late.
Yeah, by the time the game starts, it's like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. If you got a real job, you're sleeping most of the time, you know. So we have the Dodgers, then we have the Padres, then we have the San Francisco Giants, who are in the wild card chase.
Wow.
Yeah, so we will get to the wild card chase. So it's hard to do the math on that a little bit. I kind of free-handed it a little bit, so I might have like a game or half a game off on here. But right now it looks like all right. So if the season we're in today, we have Atlanta and then we have the Marlins who are automatically in. Then we have the Cubs and the Cardinals who are automatically in, and the Dodgers and Padres. Out of everything I just said, the Dodgers and Padres is definitely happening. Like that is 100%.
Yeah, that's like the punch ticket.
The Cardinals can fall out, the Marlins can fall out, but that is where we're at right now. So in the wild card, which would be the 7th and the 8th seeds in the NL, we have the Reds, Cincinnati Reds, and the San Francisco Giants are in the playoffs right now. With the season ended today.
Wow.
It is pretty crazy, huh? I mean, they didn't have Buster Posey the whole season. I think they had like 3 or 4 regulars from that like opted out of the season. They didn't want to do.
Crawford.
Yeah, they're just amazing. So. Oh, okay. Yeah. So. Okay. So then we
So
have.
we got some breaking news then.
Yeah, hit it.
So what it was?
So Aaron Judge is not starting tonight.
Oh, so Aaron Judge
Yeah.
is not starting tonight, so that means more reps for
Clint Frazier.
Yep, Red Thunder.
Clint Frazier's the man.
Yeah, I've said this from the start. Since we got him, we need to play him.
Yeah.
The dude has got tremendous bat speed. His batting IQ is just great. He's not reckless. He's got great plate discipline, and he has come up in the clutch plenty of times.
Well, I'd say anybody who's watched enough of Yankee baseball would see how much he's matured over the time, and it's great to see that. It's great to see him actually get the opportunity too, because the Yankees are holding him down. a little bit.
What did he
Wow.
have mature? I mean, what? Because he had the concussion, and then Michael K had some stuff to say. Like he couldn't control that.
Well, I think when he initially got sent down, I think it was last year.
Which was pretty stupid to do because he was our best player to begin the season.
Absolutely. So they sent
In
him
favor
down,
of Mike Talkman?
and then he didn't. Yeah, and then he ended up not reporting to the AAA affiliate. So that's why, that's what made it the whole black eye, and he's spoiled brat or whatever it was
That's
whatever
not,
perception.
That's not being a spoiled brat. That's just being pissed off.
yeah.
You're producing a line that you
Yeah.
just get shunned right there.
Yeah, I'd say, I think, unfortunately, when the Giancarlo Stanton trade happened, that pretty much forced him out. Like, it made him like the odd man out. Luckily, because of injuries and because Stanton really can't stay on the field past 10 games in a row, he ends up, Stanton,
Yeah, and that's
Frazier
like
ends
one of
up.
my favorite players too.
Yeah, I mean, he's great, but it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
He's just. So let me ask you, all right? So, like, you followed Stanton throughout most of his career, right?
Yeah. Since his name was Mike.
So right, he used to be Mike Stanton. So he was healthy there for a while, right? And then
Well,
he
okay, so
is it the eye injury that made him like kind of fragile
what,
now, or what?
the face injury?
When he got hit in the head, yeah.
Okay, so even before that, you got to understand this. Big players, whether they're tall, stocky guys, or they're fat butterballs like Prince Fielder.
Me?
I, this,
But a busy.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
big players tend to break down more easily
Right.
and at like a frequent rate. There has been times where John Carlos Stanton, when he was with the Florida Marlins, now Miami, still call them the Florida Marlins. It's
Right.
not going to change. Anyways, there most of the time he was not healthy. He would play a half-healthy season, but he would produce a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, because
So-
there's one year he had like 60 homers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he wasn't fully healthy though,
Yeah.
but he still produced.
Right. It's just tough. It's tough on there, but also, luckily the Yankees have the depth, and that'll help in the playoffs. So we'll get back to the National League wild cards. So Cincinnati and the Giants are holding the 7 and 8 spots right now, which are both surprises. They've had great second halves to the short season, and the Phillies are a game back of the Giants. Milwaukee is a game back.
So you're telling me, with that sort of super team that the Phillies have,
Yep.
they can't just grasp a top spot.
No. The Fighting Mattingleys, which is what I like to call the Miami Marlins because I love Don Mattingly, and he's doing his thing over there. They crashed the party. If not, the Phillies would be in the number 2 slot comfortably. But the
man.
Fighting Mattingleys are doing their thing. 28 and 28.
Yo, wow. I just got to say, it's like, is it the Bryce Harper factor?
I don't know. You got to think about
Is
it.
there like some like unrest within that locker room?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like the year that freaking Bryce Harper left. That season after that off season, well, which was the same year, 2019, right?
Right. Yep.
The Nationals win the World Series.
Yeah.
You got to ask yourself, without Bryce Harper,
And they didn't get anything for him.
literally nothing.
Yeah.
So now you got to ask yourself, so what's the status of the Washington Nationals now?
They are swimming on the bottom.
Wow. I guess losing Rendon was a big blow.
Yep. Yeah, they've been ravaged by injuries and all types of craziness. So,
So you just got to
and
make you
they
think.
had Ryan Zimmerman ended up opting out of the season. So it's just
So it just got to make you think, right? So were they stupid for letting Anthony Rendon walk in favor of Steven Strasburg?
you don't know. Yeah. Possibly. Yeah, you don't know. It's
It's going to
see
be
how
one of
that
those
goes.
what ifs.
Yeah, I think this year I don't think is a true gauge a lot of the losing teams because you have players that didn't report because of the COVID thing. You have like all these other different issues and things like that. So it's just some things make sense, some things aren't gonna make sense. We'll see when next year. Hopefully we'll have a nice full season and true teams will show themselves as what they are. And then locally, the New York Mets are 3.5 games back of the wild card. So they are counting down the days to elimination, but they do have a puncher's chance to get in there.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then the Rockies are 4 games back.
Wow.
So they're teetering as well. But, so basically, I mean, realistically, the Mets maybe, but probably not. So it looks like we have 4 teams within to get the last 2 spots in the wild card, whereas the AL, everything's all sewed up. We already know who the 8 teams are going to be. We just don't know where all of them are going to be playing or playing against each other. So that'll be fun there. All right, so now we're going to get into the NFL, and we're going to breeze through this one because we don't have a lot of time left in the show. But what we like to do this week is because we don't have a lot of time to break down each matchup and things like that. So we're going to go through what's normal and what's
Not
surprising.
normal. Okay, yeah.
Well, we're normal, not normal. Well, we haven't gotten a true. We got to work on that for next week. Got a nice little slogan in there. So, so what's normal? We have the Baltimore Ravens at 2-0. The Pittsburgh Steelers at 2-0. The Kansas City Chiefs are 2-0.
Wow.
The Seattle Seahawks are 2-0. The Los Angeles Rams are 2-0. And the Green Bay Packers 2-0. I don't think there's really anything surprising there. I mean, I guess maybe the Steelers weren't they haven't been as dominant in the past couple years. You know, as Ben Roethlisberger was injured, and you didn't really know what was going to happen there as with him coming back. But I when I look at the standings, I say, oh, Steelers 2-0. That's not too surprising.
Yeah, no, it's not.
All right. So then you have the Buccaneers, who are 1-1. That's pretty normal, I'd say. I mean, not knowing what they did in the offseason and how they have this whole crazy overhaul of super amazing talent on offense. They're 1-1. Not surprising.
Especially with Tom Brady in the mix.
Yeah. We'll see. It's going to take them a while to see who. They lost to the Saints, so.
Yeah, to James Winston, of all people. Wait, no, it was Drew Brees.
Nah, Drew Brees. Yeah,
Oh,
Drew Brees,
okay.
Winston was in the building, though. Probably laughing the whole time. At the best seat
Eating
in the
crab
house.
legs, stolen.
So, and then
Yeah, he did steal crab legs, by the way.
And the normal losers of the normal side of losing, the Miami Dolphins are 0-2. The New York Jets are 0-2. The Cincinnati Bengals are 0-2. The New York Giants are 0-2.
Yep, as you see.
Yeah. And the Lions are 0-2. Any surprises there?
No,
Nah, not really.
but not for nothing. I mean,
I expect the Lions to be better, but
yeah,
it is what
I
it is.
really don't. I
Yeah.
don't expect the
Yeah,
Lions
it's not
to be
surprising.
better.
It's just one of those things. Yeah. So I don't know. So
Not-
so who do you think out of the Jets and the Giants, who's gonna win first, or who's gonna win first? What do you think?
It seems like Okay, so waving the towel, Saquon Barkley is out,
Yeah.
torn ACL. But it seems like every time the Giants play, they just fight until the very end.
Yeah. That's good. That's
They
good
just
to be able to
fight
scratch
to
out
the
some
very
wins there.
end.
Yeah.
But it's frustrating. It's frustrating to be a Giants fan today, tomorrow,
Yeah.
next week.
Well, I'd say
You kind of know what a Jet fan feels like. Well, except, us Giants fans.
Yeah.
Although it's in the past, we had our fair share of our, glorious moments. These guys haven't had that since
that's what happens.
TV
You-
was black and white.
You hang out with them long enough, you start becoming them. Should have got your own arena.
You should have paid the rent.
All right, so we're gonna breeze through the surprises of the NFL season. We have the Patriots at 1-1. That's
Why is that weird?
Because they have a loss. Usually,
Okay.
Usually
'Cause
they
I-
go like 4, 5, 10 games before they get their first loss. I don't know. I just found
Oh.
it weird that they're 1-1. Just looking at it, breezing through.
I would think I'm thinking because they got to win.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
they still have Bill Belichick, who at times looks like a freaking hobo.
Well, it's a long season. We're gonna see how that ends up shaking out. So the Titans are 2-0. Not surprising with their playoff run, but just recent history.
Is Marcus Mariota still in the Titans?
I believe so. Yeah, he's not the quarterback though. It's Ryan Tannehill.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the Las Vegas Raiders are 2-0.
It feels so weird to say
Yeah.
Las Vegas Raiders.
It is. I had to double clutch there for a second. Whoa. So the Chicago Bears are 2-0. The Arizona Cardinals are 2-0.
Larry Fitzgerald still playing
Yep,
over there?
and they have
Okay.
DeAndre Hopkins, who
He-
used to play on the Houston Texans. Then we have the Saints are 1-1.
Wow.
Not exactly surprising, but I figure they get a couple wins before they get their first loss. So surprise losers, the Texans, the aforementioned Houston Texans, are 0-2.
Wow.
Yeah, with that offense, you wouldn't think they'd be 0-2. The Philadelphia Eagles are 0-2.
Of
Wow, that makes you happy? That's what.
course it makes me happy.
I'd have to. Well, the team with no name is 1-1.
The no-name team.
Washington no names, and then we have the Minnesota Vikings are 0-2.
Wow.
Yeah, and the Atlanta Falcons are 0-2. Did you see that game the other night where they just they lost like a 20-point lead to the Cowboys, and the Cowboys won on a crazy onside kick.
And now Cowboys fans think that they're gonna win the Super Bowl now.
It would be crazy, yeah. So that is our show for today. So thank you very much for joining us. The LDM Radio Sports Talk.
Wesley Segundo, a.k.a. Weapon Man. Yeah.
And I'm Alfonso Caldero. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much.